大怪盗アルセーヌ・ルパンが残した不思議な宝物ルパンコレクションがギャングラーに奪われた。失ったものを取り戻すために戦う怪盗、世界の平和を守るために戦う警察。ミュージック、君はどっちを応援する？
Hello, and welcome to LupinRecap versus PatReview, the podcast that's stirring up a storm. I am your host, Lokamasi, and with me is my lovely co-host, Fefner Masamune.
Hello, it's Fefner from Lupat. Did you know some of my favorite things are jumping into the lake fierce, stale bread, water without any ice, the newest season of The Simpsons, and dirt. See you in episode 23, everyone.
And today we're talking about episode 23 of Lupat. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about something that this episode kind of reminded me about. Vaguely, you might see when we start talking about the episode. But I wanted to talk about experts. And the main thing I wanted to say was how the internet makes it really easy to intentionally or accidentally present yourself as an expert. By running this show, we have kind of presented to you that we are experts on this, and I think we should just clear up that miscommunication. I am certainly not an expert.
Yet we're not experts, and our advice should never be followed.
Yeah, I have, unfortunately, 3 business degrees, and I'm in law school, so I know nothing about writing. Fefner, you're studying creative writing, and you said before we started recording the podcast, that's still just writing. Like, cinematography is this whole other beast.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in making a TV show or movie or whatever have you. And I mean, like, you can probably tell from my description of it, but while I enjoy the music of this show and I think it's very good, I definitely can't talk about it at length. I don't have the vocabulary for that study.
Oh god, that feels like me with just about everything, though. Like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Is music? I love music.
Where's the music coming from? The green thing or the black thing? The black thing? Ah, it's good.
So yeah, we have opinions. We think those opinions are worth sharing. We think we have some interesting stuff to say, but we don't want to, like, generate the idea that we think we're right about everything. Like, yeah. We don't know how to make a TV show, but we know what we like to watch is basically what we're coming down to.
Pretty much. And until society lets me just spend, like, an entire year watching this show very slowly and taking in all the details and letting me survive off that as a career, you know, I can't be an expert on it. I'd love to be a scholar on dumb things like TV shows such as Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger, but, you know, that's just not happening.
I think that almost any TV show could have, like, a full semester class taught about it if somebody really wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know how different each class would be, because, like, you get a really boring TV show and you're just stuck talking about, like, rote creation of TV shows for a while.
Why is this boring? Oh, let me count the ways.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, even things that are bad are worth talking about. Even, I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, but there is a Tumblr user, September C. Fox, who I hope hasn't done anything horrible. I've not really looked into that. Who a while ago had several Tumblr posts analyzing the writing in Dragon Ball. And it wasn't anything particularly deep, but I really liked looking at those mechanics, those tools of writing as applied to something like Dragon Ball, instead of as applied to something like Lord of the Rings or War and Peace.
Yeah, even seemingly simplistic things can be really deep. Like Dynasty Warriors. They're very simple to play, but, like, you have to put in a lot of effort to make that simplicity really good and enjoyable. Like, there's a reason Hyrule Warriors is up there, but then there are several Dynasty Warriors that people think are just kind of bad. Think, like, the Gundams aren't as well appreciated.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Musou games that drives me wild, is that they all look the same, but they are so different in how they play.
Yep.
Like, I played Samurai Warriors 4, and I'm never going back to Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, and, like, Hyrule Warriors is different from Fire Emblem Warriors, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Personally, I just want to play the one that's like a semi-strategy game where like it has the territories. I forget which series of Muso that is, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the PS4 exclusive ones, and I'm jealous because those look really cool. It just goes a step further to making you think you're doing a thing, even if that is kind of simple. So we kind of got sidetracked, thanks to me. Sorry.
No, they're still talking about. See, that was why I brought up the Muso games, because like I don't know how to explain the differences. They're just different. That's why I'm not an expert. I just have opinions. But anyways, we are on the verge of getting sidetracked. So let's get into the actual episode now.
Alright, so, episode 23, Status Gold, my favorite JoJo theme. So, we begin this episode in Hell. Degranio and his assistants enter the dining hall, only to find a trio of ganglars already making themselves at home. Degranio addresses their leader, Lyman, a plague doctor-looking ganglar, Giwi, and a bull ganglar, Ushibarak. Neither of Degranio's allies seem all that thrilled to see the group. Gauche does her usual thing and gives an underhanded insult, while Destra gets mad that Lyman is sitting on Degranio's throne and attempts to slam his hammer into the punk's head. Lyman brags and says that he'll be sitting in that seat soon enough and asks if there's a problem with that. As always, Degranio sees no issue with someone's confidence, provided it isn't misplaced. We then visit Jure, where Noel is enjoying a nice meal on his lonesome, even if he is in his police uniform. He gives his compliments to the chef, who'd prefer that he'd stop with the flattery and just eat his dang meal. Umika points out that Tuma never believes a thing that Noel says, but she's cut off by Noel, who mentions he wants Tuma for something. Though it hasn't yet made the news, there have been recent kidnapping reports, all of which involve cooks. The global police attempted to go undercover, but they're terrible chefs, so they've made no progress.
God, I just love these meals that they prepared. There's instant ramen, there's burnt pancakes.
Kaitro does the best, but he just has a fish with the head still on. It's not immediately detestable like Tsukasa's or literally just instant ramen like Sakia. So, Noel wants to use Tuma as bait, though he is willing to go along as Tuma's assistant. Tuma agrees to the plan on the condition that he be the one to keep the collection piece they find. And cue the intro. When we return, we find Tuma teaching a cooking class, which is one of the rare moments where we see him look happy. We also see his students as they take notes, and we definitely do not see the ganglar among them. Definitely not.
I feel like it's been a while since I've said, like, spot the ganglar in this picture.
I mean, you can't. It's impossible. There isn't even one there.
What if they did that, though? What if it was just one of the, like, completely indistinct other students?
Look, that man was just tall and excitable. It's fine. That happens. People do that. People exist as tall. At one point in the montage, one of the students isn't quite sure of her cooking, but Tuma kindly points out what she's missing. It's time. And the student is happy with the result, as is the nearby man who definitely isn't a ganglar. After the class is over, Tuma and Noel are having a near conversation. Tuma's not super into it, of course. But before that can make any progress, Not Ganglar runs up to the two of them and compliments them. Then he turns into a ganglar. Oh no.
Who could have seen this coming?
A quick double punch knocks both Tuma and Noel to the ground, and Ushibarak grabs them both before making a quick escape out the window. Red and Yellow, who aren't too far away, note that he really didn't waste any time. It's like 3 seconds. Later, Tuma and Noel find themselves locked in the helm of a ship. Once Ushibarak leaves, laughing as he goes, Tuma just opens the door with his versus changer.
Those lockpicks work on any kind of lock, not just combination locks.
It's so good. I love that doors just cannot stop them. As they walk down the hall, the two overhear Ushibarak talking to some Podamen, as he has high hopes for his newly kidnapped chefs. Tuma and Noel Kaito change and confront the Bull Chef. It was at this point that I realized Ushibarak is a very long name to say out loud. Bull Chef tells his precious Potamen friends to deliver their carts of food, and gives them time to escape.
I love that. Just this is the only Ganglar that treats the Potamen as non-expendable.
I think this is the only time we see Potamen in this episode, because he will not send them out. He won't do it. They're his friends.
I need to protect them.
Suddenly, the fight is on the deck of the ship instead of the hull. Sure. Bull Chef's overwhelming power puts Blue and X close enough together for his power to be very effective. Once activated, it excites molecular structures, in X's words. In Blue's words, dude's got a dang microwave. The two Lupin Rangers fall to the ground with a ding. And Bull Chef brags about his collection power being useful as a weapon and as a cooking tool. God, I do love that joke, though.
It's not, by the way. It's a terrible cooking tool.
I mean, maybe? No human actually tastes anything he cooks with it, so maybe it's a good microwave? I don't know.
Ganglar taste buds only can taste wine and shitty food.
Just the worst food. Bull Chef is then joined by his teammates, Limon and Giwi. Blue isn't thrilled to see two more Ganglars, but X notices something else. Limon's safe is gold. Once again, he uses the phrase status gold, which Blue should question, but does not. The groups fight, and Blue goes after Limon, while X gets dragged off by Giwi. Blue enters Limon's safe combination 110, and the safe flashes red. Blue is surprised as his versus changer gives him an error message, and Limon proceeds to beat the hell out of him. His final strike also breaks the dial on Blue's versus changer, which cancels his transformation. So, yeah, Limon doesn't get a lot of action in this episode, but what little he does get, he's really good.
I really like how quickly they establish Limon as a threat.
Yep. Kiwi's not bad either. Bull Chef, well, he's not bad, but he's clearly the one who's easiest to take on.
We've been long overdue for Ganglar team-ups, and this is a really good Ganglar team. These might be my 3 favorite designs in the whole show.
They're really good designs, they're really good characters. We'll get more into it later, but yeah, they're real good. Seeing as things are going poorly, Noel slides his versus changer across his sword, which emits a flash of light that gives the two Rangers time to escape. Back at the helm, Noel explains that the versus vehicles can't open a status gold safe, and that Blue's damaged changer means he can't transform. He then pulls out Good Striker, who I guess is just here now, and tells him to find Kyra and Umika to tell them what happened. As Goody leaves, Bull Chef chimes in on the loudspeaker, telling his guests that they're going to have a cooking contest with him. If they win, they'll become the new chefs on the ship. Noel tells Tuma he should go along with the contest, and in the meantime he'll work on repairing the versus changer. Tuma doesn't want to hand over his versus changer, though, because it's too important to hand to a stranger. Noel says that he doesn't think of Tuma as a stranger because he saw the happiness and passion Tuma displayed back at the cooking class. And though Noel bounces around his professions, he also has a dedication to his true purpose, which is maintaining the collection. Much like Tuma can't help but to put his all into cooking, Noel is compelled to keep the collection safe. After a moment of hesitation, Tuma hands his versus vehicle over to Noel, though noting that he really shouldn't have teamed up with him. So it's been a while since we've pointed out how good at facial acting Tuma's actor is, but God, he's really good.
Shogo Hama, really good at subtle face acting.
Yeah, that moment of hesitation, you just see the mental process. It's great. It's a real good scene in general, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of things we've been overdue for, hey Toma, you're getting character development again. About time.
God, it's been so long. The last Tuma-focused episode didn't even really count because he was developing someone else.
It feels like it's actually been 20 episodes since Toma has developed.
It's not exaggerating by much. It has been some time. Probably actually at least 10.
Yeah. It depends on if we want to count episode 12 or not, because 16 is mostly Kyrie. 12 is kind of him, but it's mostly the kid.
Yep.
Like, it really does feel like episode 3 was the last time we've really gotten anything from him.
Oh god, was it episode 3? Thought there must have been something after that.
There probably was, but it's not coming to mind. 3 was the obvious one.
Well, anyway though, with that finished, it's time for the cooking contest. Tuma can make whatever he wants, he just has to impress the judges. Bullchef's friends, of course. If he does impress them, he wins. Meanwhile, we see Noel do some fancy tech stuff as he begins repairing Blue's vehicle. And off the ship, we see Red and Yellow observing the Ganglar's hideout, though they haven't made any sort of move yet. Goody flies over and tells them of what's going on. Back on the ship, the cooking contest begins. Bullchef is very aggressive, and he basically has an aura sound effect as he dices up some lettuce and spices up some meats in midair. And of course he also microwaves the meat with his collection power as well, also in midair. So yeah, just Kenshiro, but moo instead of ta-ta-ta-ta.
I was going to say, like, is this one of the mini games in Lost Paradise?
Kenshiro microwaving meat with his body heat. It's kind of gross if I put it like that, actually. So anyway.
How hard do you have to punch a raw chicken to cook it for the kinetic energy?
Fuck.
Kenshiro can do it is the thing.
Oh my god, I forgot about that post. I'd read that post during class, and that was a mistake because I almost died in the middle of class. Anyway. Meanwhile, we get some intense concentration from Tuma as he carefully puts his own dishes together. As he cooks, he remembers Noel's words, and that he said he looked like a professional chef. As Bullchef finishes cooking his meat in the most unorthodox way possible, Tuma puts the final touches on desserts. With both chefs finished, Lyman and Giwi are presented first with Bullchef's dishes. Naturally, they love it, but Tuma's confident as well. And though the two Ganglar judges are certain of their friend's victory, a few bites stun them completely. Bullchef initially thinks they've been poisoned, but in actuality they enjoyed Tuma's food so much that they just went wild.
What if Toma did poison them, though?
It presents the important question of, would a Ganglar explode if they were poisoned?
Yeah, like, I get the feeling that if Toma could somehow get their collection pieces beforehand, he would have just poisoned them.
He probably would. Alternatively, if, the safes didn't explode automatically upon death. Like, if it's possible to poison a Ganglar, which apparently it is, because Bullchef seems like he thought it could happen, you might be able to get the collection piece. Lyman and Giwi are happy with their new chef, but Bullchef takes it pretty hard. He wanted to continue being the head chef, but now Tuma's come along and ruined it. I mean, this is kind of your own fault. I'm going to make a contest that I will definitely never lose ever, and if I ever did lose it, it would kill me completely. Just crush my spirit into pieces. So, he charges in with intent to kill. Bullchef pushes Tuma outside, which works against him, because Blue's versus vehicle flies in, giving Tuma the chance to get out of harm's way. Noel asks how the contest went, and Tuma tells him he won. He is a professional chef, after all. And Noel just smiles at that comment. I really like that moment. Tuma has good moments when he actually has an episode.
Yeah, it's just been so long.
Though, in terms of just maybe not character development moments, but moments, at the very least, episode 12 still had good Tuma moments.
Yeah, both in really genuinely nice and sweet, and the things where he shoves the child.
God, he does usually get both of those in an episode. Just genuine moments of kindness from Tuma, and then, oh yeah, that's a Tuma thing to do.
He's just a really sweet guy who's also super bitter and intense. He's just Kenshiro, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. The two of them Kaito change, and then Red and Yellow also arrive just in time to help, and the group have their usual henshin intro. X is also there, but no one gets to stand on any buildings because he's not part of that intro, unfortunately.
Womp womp.
I forget if I mentioned it on the podcast or just to you, but God, I really wish he was just like hanging off the side of a building in that intro.
Like, in fear for his life.
Hey guys, isn't there a building for me to stand on in this? No? Okay. I'll just backflip to safety then. The other two Ganglars then join the fight, which is apparently off the ship after a commercial break. This show usually has pretty good choreography, but like half the time they kind of have to reset where the fight takes place when it starts, and it's never really done well.
Choreography is great, continuity not so much.
Yeah. Though the Lupin Rangers have the advantage in numbers, these Ganglars are also just very strong. Yellow can't get an edge over Giwi, and Red finds himself struggling against Lyman, which might be a good thing because I don't think anybody's told him what a status gold is.
We're gonna get another VS vehicle broken.
I want to see that episode where it's like, haha, I've got your oh no.
I want to see Kyrie pull out in succession every VS vehicle they have.
And break all of them, God.
Alright, time for Red. How about Cyclone? No blade, no scissors.
Can Cyclone even open anything?
It has a dial.
I guess it could, they just never use it for that purpose.
Yeah, they never have to because they have their own ones. But I do kind of want to just see them just, God, oh no.
Nope. Maybe that's the true secret to unlocking the status gold, is just brute forcing it.
Just run up and push those keys, just 111, 112, 113.
Every Lupin episode will now just end with Noel having to repair every collection piece. We also see Giwi activate his safe power, which deflects some of Red's gunfire, and a normal-ass ability from Lyman, in which he has claw beams. And the beams explode. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Lyman and Giwi leave the battlefield laughing, thinking they've taken care of the Lupin Rangers. But, of course, Red managed to protect himself and Yellow with his scissors shield. Meanwhile, Blue and X are having a much better time against Bullchef. After a Kaisatsu change, X gives Blue the opportunity to go for Bullchef's treasure, which he does. He inputs the combination 7, 1, 5, and recovers La Chaleur est là. Red and Yellow enter the scene and apologize for the other two getting away, and together they beat on Bullchef until they finish him off with a seizing X strike. Gauche enters immediately and raises Bullchef from the dead, at which point he specifically calls out Blue. Red asks what he did to tick him off, and Blue responds that he's just being a sore loser. Blue and Yellow are then given the Fire and Thunder to launch, and X activates his train as well. As he forms the X-Emperor, the Lupin Rangers also activate their Kaiser. The two robots then charge Big Bull, who fares pretty well against two opponents. At one point, he even manages to push both of them back with a charge move. But X turns his own move around on him. Literally. When Big Bull tries to toss them, X uses his ability to flip to his advantage, riding the Lupin Kaiser while changing to the Emperor's Gunner form. The Emperor then uses Gunner Strike, which blows off Big Bull's horns, before lending the Lupin Kaiser its own Fire and Thunder vehicles. The Lupin Kaiser continues firing at Big Bull, before the Emperor reforms into its Slash form. Emperor then uses Slash Strike, which finally takes out Big Bull. That night, Noel reports back to Police HQ. The group is surprised he already solved the case, and by working with the thieves at that. Noel asks if there's a problem, but Kaitro is more concerned with the other two Ganglars than with who Noel worked with. At Jour, Tuma has told the other two about the status gold Ganglars. Tuma mentions that even Noel doesn't know how to deal with them, at which point Umika smiles and says that Tuma trusts Noel now. Tuma just says, I guess so, just a little bit anyway. But when he turns around, he looks at his Versus vehicle and smiles. And that's the end.
It's not like I care about you, Noel, you baka. Pretty good episode.
God, yeah,
ni-
it's a good episode, and it's a Tuma episode. He's needed one of these.
Finally, he can reclaim his position from Sakuya. Let's talk about the Ganglar. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but Ushibarak has been the only Ganglar so far to not have a full name.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
The wiki lists his full name as Ushibarak the Brawl.
The Brawl.
Sunday.
Yeah, but his design's pretty good, and I like how they're able to present him as a really credible threat in the big battle, at least. As I mentioned before, he does seem to be like the least threatening of the trio of Ganglars, because he can't really hold his own all that well when two people gang up on him.
Because Lymon is just terrifying and unstoppable, and Giwi has his collection piece that seems to be just similarly unstoppable, but for defensive purposes.
Yeah. Though he's also got that, like, weird, cool sword thing with the little layers. You can sort of use that to position people, which is also pretty effective.
I'm never going to get over how great these three look as a team.
God, they're so good.
It's like, actually has me disappointed that Ushibarak gets taken out so quickly, because I want to see them fight as a team more.
I know, it's so good. He's clearly the weakest link, though, and he does end up fighting away from them a lot, which I guess is his other big weakness. He apparently just does not work very well and kind of does his own thing. He's the berserker. Doesn't really need to work with anyone else. He's just gonna rage here for a while.
If anyone comes, Ushibarak, you get him.
But in terms of like other things for his normal size form, he's definitely not like the most notable Ganglar in terms of collection power or even safe, because of course that goes to Lyman, who has a fancy safe that will just blow up your versus. Well, no, it won't blow up your versus changer. He did that with his own two hands. It just rejects the versus changer hacking into it. But in terms of big form, this has been one of the better big battles, and that we get to see two big robots, and even then, he still manages to actually be pretty effective against them.
Yeah, this is a nice way of doing escalation of threat, because we know that these robots are stronger now because they have two of them, but they're still fighting just as hard.
Yeah, it actually.
So you can tell that Ushibarak is stronger.
Yeah, it also makes me wonder how he'd handle the Pat Rangers, because, X will do his own thing, of course, so in thief form, he's just got really good armor, but the fact that he was really good against the robots, at least implies a little bit that he would do better against the Pat Rangers since they don't move around as much, but I doubt the writers put that much thought into it. That's just a cool thing that I think. It's my headcanon. That's how his power level compares to the Pat Rangers.
Oh my god. So, character development. Again, this is very much just like on the surface sort of thing. But I do really like how Noel and Toma come together as professionals and not even professionals in the same line of work.
Yeah, but they can relate to each other in that regard.
Yeah, just the fact that they have something that they care about so much and are willing to work so hard for is such an important part of their lives that they can, like you said, relate to each other through it.
Yeah, this is honestly kind of a better version of the previous episode, because it's Noel notices something about one of his teammates and helps them realize something, but whereas he just sort of, encouraged Saki in all the worst ways, he notices something that Tuma's actually really passionate about, and something that even Tuma kind of forgot he was so passionate about, and helps him sort of discover that passion, because, it's not like Tuma hasn't realized his love for cooking before, but I think he associates it a lot with his fiancée, so he has a lot of angst about it as well, but here we actually see him be happy about it, now that he's out of the environment of Jour, which probably isn't a good environment for helping him forget his trauma.
That is the main thing that I liked about Toma, is that it's not just him learning the same thing that Aya taught him. It's helping him like separate it from Aya.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that cooking reminds him of Aya and just keeps that wound fresh, you know?
Yeah.
It also just helps him feel better about life in general.
Yeah, and honestly, I really like that one moment where he helps the student realize what she was missing from her recipe, because he just seemed so genuinely helpful.
Yeah, Toma just really likes cooking, but in a way that's, well fleshed out and an integral and interesting part of his character, and not just, like, a goof,
Yep.
Those are the main things I wanted to cover. We've gushed about the Ganglar team enough, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk about the others at a later date, since while the team was a focus, the later episodes they'll involve them a little more. This one was mostly the bowl.
Mm-hmm. I'm just really disappointed that we don't get to see these three, like, knock over a bank or something.
Yeah.
Because I can already kind of imagine their roles in their little mini gang, and I just want to see them on screen for real.
Yep. Honestly, I know everybody is mad that the Pat Rangers often draw the short straw, but I do kind of wish there was just an episode of them trying to take on this team but not being able to. Or at the very least, just like, obviously you need some sort of victory so they could help someone. Just they couldn't defeat any of the Ganglars yet. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and these three are the best designs, but I think Yui might be the actual best single design.
God, I think Yui's my favorite of the three, because just in personality and in design.
Just every time I see him, it's like, oh, he's here.
Yep.
My boy.
I mean, he's got a pretty close personality to Plague Knight from Shovel Knight. I guess Plague Doctors just kind of give off that vibe.
Oh no, are we going to meet his girlfriend that he's too scared to talk to?
Honestly, I hope. I'd be fine with that.
Oh no, it's going to be sad, because we're going to kill him.
Oh dear.
He's a Ganglar unless he's going to, like, turn good or something.
I don't think a Ganglar can turn good, because eventually the Lupin Rangers do have to blow him up and take his treasure. Not in that order.
So is that your prediction for next episode? We meet Yui's girlfriend?
I mean, I could hope, but I'm not going to assume that's actually going to happen.
All right. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Because I covered the really good Ganglars and finally some good fucking character development for Toma.
I pretty much discussed all I wanted to there, and I mentioned this is basically just a better version of the previous episode. Like, even the fact that there's a kidnapping plot in it, except unlike Umika, Tuma actually does something in captivity.
Yeah, God, I'm still mad about Umika, because these writers have established they know what to do with kidnapped characters. They know how to make them irrelevant and not helpless, but they just didn't. They just dropped the ball so goddamn hard last episode.
Yeah. And God, just the worst part was they went to lengths to imply that Umika wasn't helpless. It's just like, oh, she could get out. She just doesn't.
And, like, you know that was them trying to, like, get around what they'd done to Umika that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, she's not a totally helpless damsel in distress. She can do things. She just doesn't because...
No, see, the point is that she has a choice to reveal her secret identity or not. Oh, wait, no, she doesn't, because everyone else does a thing for her.
God, it's like watching a fucking North Star episode.
But anyway, this episode, good.
This episode was good. And last episode was bad, but it's not super horrible. I don't feel... Well, actually, I might skip it on rewatches, but not for the... It's not as bad as the other bad episode.
Yeah. I just ended up harping on it a lot because it doesn't disgust me quite as much as episode 11, and I can actually articulate why I don't like the situation in that one.
Yeah, that is sort of the thing. It's not as bad, but it's bad in a more tolerable way, so we can talk about it without feeling gross.
Yep. So Tuma had a good episode. Good. I'm glad.
Finally. Mm-hmm. That does it for this episode. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, we are at LRVSPR. Fefner is at Fefner Masamune. If you want to email us, we are LupinRecap vs PatReview@gmail.com. And we will see you in the next episode.
Adieu.
Adieu.